All right, guys, this episode is going to be a little different. I decided today to tell my story of what led me to be a health coach. If you don't know who I am, my name is Bertus. I am a physician assistant and diabetes reversal health coach. And you may have heard bits of the story, but today we're going to tell it all. A lot of people, when they know what I'm doing right now, they ask me, man, Lewis, you're all over the place. You know, you started off in church ministry, and then you became a PA, and now you're a health coach. You know, where are you going to be next, right? So I want to explain the inspiration behind the creation of Diabetes 180 and what led me to this life-changing experience for myself, my wife, clients, and patients. So first, you got to understand where I came from. Growing up, I grew up as a Seventh-day Adventist Christian. It is a faith I still practice today. For those of you who may not know what a Seventh-day Adventist Christian is, basically we are just like mainstream Protestant Christian churches. Only main difference is we go to church on Saturday instead of Sunday. And there's many things I love about growing up a Seventh-day Adventist and practicing it now. But one thing I really value is that we don't just focus on the spiritual, but we also focus on physical, because we understand that the mind, the body, and the spirit are connected. And even though Christ died to redeem us so that we could experience spiritual growth and life anew, but he also cares for this physical body. We are the temple of God in the end, and God cares about our health. So I always knew that having a strong faith, I wanted to help people in a spiritual but also a very physical way. So that's what led me to studying biology in my undergrad years. But eventually I would graduate around 2010 with a theology degree, knowing that I would go into healthcare work eventually. And I was very fulfilled, doing church ministry, ministering to the youth in the church, ministering to the needs of the community, doing literature evangelism, doing some health work as well. But I still felt this calling to healthcare. And I specifically believe it was a calling because it's the way that my hero, Jesus Christ, met people's needs, right? That's why he was called the great physician. He knew that he would... in fulfilling the needs of the world, he would not just bring spiritual, but also physical healing to those who needed the most. And so I always knew that I wanted training in physical healing. And so I would start my career in 2016 and seeking a master's in physician assistant studies. And that in itself is an amazing story. It deserves its own video. But I'll tell you this, that it was 1 year prior to that when I got up from my job, a good paying job, and quit because I knew God was calling me to something greater, to the anxiety of my wife, having nothing lined up. I signed up for a certified nursing assistant course, and 12 months later, I was sitting in PA school. That doesn't happen often, okay? Not unless I say, I guess in my own words, that it's a divine intervention or divinely ordained that it happens that way. A year after quitting my job, I'm sitting in PA school. A lot of miracles, a lot of open doors happen and it really reinforces the fact that this is something that God wanted me to do. Interesting enough, going back to the point of being a Seventh-day Adventist, we always knew that our bodies were the temple of God, and we should treat it so. So my family and I, we practice pretty healthy diet-wise, and healthy lifestyle. I would say for the most part, we were vegetarian, or I should say vegan, limiting dairy and cheese. But we also went as far as being raw foodists. So for about 2 years, we were eating a raw food diet. That was great. Lost a lot of weight, had a lot of energy, mental clarity. But the energy was amazing. So it was really a shocker for my wife and I when we found out around 2014 that she was diabetic. And, even though it wasn't my own diagnosis, I could still feel like the betrayal. Like I've been eating healthy. I've been, trying to, I've lost all this weight. We were raw foodist the year prior, eating pretty clean. And, how you diagnose with diabetes. This may be something similar to your story. Being diagnosed with diabetes can be a shocker. Of course, at the time, we didn't know what it was. All I knew was that my wife was going to the bathroom every hour, but I equated it to the fact that she was drinking water every hour, and so I would tell her, "Stop drinking water, and you stop using the bathroom. Just cut it out." Of course, I wasn't a PA at that point, so I didn't know better. Of course, we would eventually go to the doctor and find out her blood sugar levels were, I think, something as high as 500, 600, something crazy high, and we started off on a litany of medications to follow. And it was a few years, I would say about 3 or 4 years of just trying to find the right medications, having to deal with the side effects of medications, the joint pain, the weight gain, the upset stomach. She dealt with it all, and it was really hard to find the right pill, and insulin wasn't even working for her. Her A1C would continue to rise despite increasing insulin doses, and I think her highest A1C at one point was somewhere close to 10. So it really wasn't working. So we went the keto route. We started eating, well, she did at least, not myself, but she started eating low carb keto diet. And she experienced some really good results on the keto diet. Now, I should say this too. Prior to starting a keto diet, she looked up I should say plant-based options, because we always knew that the plant-based option was the way, right? We believe that animal products were not a part of man's original diet, so we really wanted to find a way to eat that allowed us to eat plant-based foods, which we know are rich in carbs. So she experimented with that, trying to eat a plant-based diet, a vegan diet, to restore her health, and her sugars continued to rise. Her medication needs continued to increase. So that's when she kind of threw in the towel and said, "Okay, I just got to eat meat." And of course, her blood sugars got better. So you would think, okay, keto is it. But as many of you may know, we saw other things going up while the sugars were going down. That is her cholesterol levels. So her cholesterol levels started to rise, and we knew this was a sign of heart disease, in the future. And it's the studies show it. Of course, keto and low carb diets are great for short term, but they can increase your risk of heart disease. And we knew that this was a great solution to get her out of the danger zone, of hyperglycemia. But we knew it wouldn't be sustainable long term, and I knew there was a way. And so, with much prayer and research, for about 2 years as a physician assistant, treating people in my own practice with diabetes, I started to really understand what was truly the cause of insulin resistance, and thus what would be truly the diet to reverse it. Not just mask its symptoms, not just to limit the carbs so that you don't have sugar spikes, but actually reverse the disease itself so that your body can tolerate carbohydrates in its whole food form. So once learning that, I used my wife as an experiment. I said, "Okay, honey, let's try to decrease your fat percentage." So we tried to keep her fat percentage between 10 to 15%, usually averaging around 15%, using an app called Lose It. And the results were amazing. Just 6 weeks, she was off medicine. 6 weeks after 8 long years of medications and insulin and low carb and keto and other plant-based diet methods. And it all made sense why, even though we were eating healthy and raw food for a while, she was still diagnosed with diabetes, because even on a vegan diet, you can have too much fat in your diet. I should say she probably started off in a place where her muscles and liver cells were already, storing too much fat from prior years, and And then you, on top of that, have a lot of oils and nuts and seeds and avocados that you're eating on a daily basis. It makes it hard to get rid of that stored fat. But just 6 weeks, it didn't take long, just 6 weeks of going the opposite direction, of limiting fats from all sources, not just the obvious sources, animal products, meat, dairy, eggs, and cheese, but also limiting, not eliminating, but limiting avocado, right? Instead of eating a whole avocado, you're eating half or a quarter. Instead of eating, 2-3 handfuls of nuts, you're just eating a tablespoon, right? So it's not a no-fat diet by any means. It was a low-fat diet, and she got amazing results. She was excited. I was excited. I started eating healthier. I started adopting what is now popularly called the the low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet. And I knew that this was a secret to those who wanted to reverse their diabetes and or come off medication use altogether. So I started a business. I knew that many people needed the support and the guidance and the instruction, because knowing and doing is two different things, right? And I knew that, just like my hero, my main man, Jesus, I wanted to do the most good in this world in a practical way, reaching people's needs, right? Not just writing a prescription and saying I'll see you again in 90 days or 100 or 6 months just to write you another prescription and tell you the same thing over and over again. It kind of you get burned out a little bit. And there's a lot of doctors, a lot of PAs, nurse practitioners are getting burnt out over the conventional route of doing medicine. And I know if I could continue as a PA practicing medicine, not that I'm against modern medicine, I still practice as a PA, I still prescribe medications, but I know that people need more than just a 6-month visit. People need accountability. They need motivation. They need someone to hold their hand through the process. They need someone who's done it before and can teach them how to do it for themselves. And so that's why I started a health coaching business, because I knew it would do the most good, right? And experiencing that powerful change in my wife and also in the patients in my practice, I started opening up to private clients, and it's been going great so far. Of course, you can check the testimony page on my website. You can check the testimonials I have on my YouTube channel, and more testimonials to come of people who have worked with me and eliminated or reduced their need of medications through a low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet. And the great thing is, it's by increasing carbs, not decreasing carbs, right? So that's my story. That's what led me to be a physician assistant and diabetes reversal health coach, connecting mind, body, and spirit, and doing the most good in this world that I humbly can. So I hope you enjoyed the story. Hope it motivates you in some way. And of course, I would be wrong to not encourage you to book a free consultation. If you're a diabetic and you've been struggling for a while, you just can't get those sugars to get under control, or maybe you're on a keto or low carb diet and you want to see about getting your body sensitive enough to tolerate complex carbs, whole foods without spikes. Go ahead and book a consultation. It's absolutely free, and see if we're a good fit together. So as always, beloved, I pray above all things that you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. See you next week.